We gathered here today at this Freedom Park 33 years later to mark the annual commemoration of the decisive victory of the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale. The Battle of Cuito Cuanavale was the climax of the war that took place in Angola, instigated by the apartheid regime in 1987-1988. On the one side of the war was the revolutionary forces, the People's Armed Forces for the Liberation of Angola, PAPLA, the military wing of MPLR in Angola, the People's Liberation Army Plan, the military wing of SWAPO of Namibia, Umkhonto weSizwe, the military wing of the African National Congress, supported mainly by the Cuban Armed Forces and the Soviet, today Russian combatants. On the other side of the reactionary forces was the National Union of Total Independence of Angola, UNITA, aided by apartheid South Africa, or the South African Defense Force, as it was known then, and the United States of America, including, and more particularly, the Central Intelligence Agency. The triumph of the revolutionary forces against their reactionary foes on the 23rd of March 1988 represented a watershed for the liberation struggle in the whole of Southern Africa, in the region which was referred to as frontline states, now SADC. It not only marked the decisive defeat of the racist apartheid regime and apartheid itself, the system that international community declared crime against humanity. The withdrawal of the SADF from the war-torn region and the sovereign independence of the Republic of Angola under MPLR, but also paved the way for the subsequent independence of Namibia under SWAPO, and the dawn of national freedom, humanity, and democracy in South Africa under the ANC-led government. It is for this reason that our own South African international icon, O.R. Tambo, aptly remarked, and I quote, "Pretoria's attempt to inflict a decisive defeat on the Angolan government forces at Cuito Cuanavale ended in the humiliation of the South African Defense Force. Its ignominious retreat from Angola and the collapse of Botamaland dreams in that area. Indeed, the defense of Cuito Cuanavale will go down as the historic turning point in the Southern Africa, and quite conceivably as Pretoria's Waterloo, as it has been said. The success obtained in this battle constituted a historic turning point in the struggle for the total liberation of the region from the racist rule and aggression, as correctly captured by the quote above. Fidel Castro, whose Cuban forces were instrumental in assisting the Angolan government, stated, and I quote, "The history of Africa will be written as before and after Cuito Cuanavale," close quote. El Comandante Castro showed quite pride in this achievement, demonstrating a deep understanding of the situation. Behind this singular achievement was outstanding military acumen. He was not the gambler depicted by our detractors, because they believed so much in their own propaganda. They told the world that Fidel Castro is nothing else but just a gambler. He's taking chances. It is amazing that a remote small town such as Cuito Cuanavale, near the confluence of two rivers that constitute its name, unknown to the outside world before the battle, could bring about peace, freedom, and progress to the region of the Southern African Development Community. A small town where history dramatically turned in favor of the democratic forces. This town is so remote that the Portuguese refer to it as the land at the end of the earth. At this battle, apartheid South Africa was deceived by its own propaganda in their operational planning and execution. The South Africans, shall I add, the racist South Africans, were not aware that the forces of history had shifted against the ideas of white supremacy. It is fitting tribute that Freedom Park, here in Tshwane, the names of more than 2,000 Cuban soldiers who fell in Angola between 1975 and 1988 are inscribed alongside those of the South African revolutionaries who died during the decades-long liberation struggle. Those patriots and internationalists were motivated by a single goal: the end of an oppressive racial rule and genuine African independence. After 13 years defending Angolan sovereignty, the Cubans took nothing home except the mortal remains of their fallen comrades and Africa's gratitude for the service they have rendered to humanity. That's all what they took, mortal remains. And they never stole a diamond, they never stole gold, whatever. They served humanity to the best of their revolutionary ability and went back home only with corpses. Following the significance of Cuito Cuanavale for the whole Southern Africa, my counterpart in the Republic of Angola, Her Excellency Mrs. Carolina de Guerra, and I took initiative by jointly signing the ministerial agreement and program of cooperation in Luanda, Angola, from the 10th to the 13th of April, 2018. This program of cooperation declared the 23rd of March as the day of reflection, to be commemorated by the entire Southern African Development Community and all of the countries in the region. We further agreed on the following priorities: urging the whole of SADC countries to observe the 23rd of March as a day of reflection regarding Africa's roads to independence. 2, cooperation on the project of nominating Cuito Cuanavale on the World Heritage List, as well as the project Human Rights, Liberation, Struggle and Reconciliation, the Nelson Mandela Legacy Sites, as a contribution to the roads to independence, the African Liberation Heritage Program. 3, co-production of a documentary narrating the history of the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale. 4, development of the Memoranda of Understanding between Freedom Park in South Africa and the Agostinho Neto and Cuito Cuanavale memorials in Angola. 5th, strengthening cooperation on the exchange program for library development, including the realization of book fairs. 7th, cooperation on the rehabilitation of Vienna Transit Camp. 8th, sharing of knowledge and experiences towards nation building and social cohesion programs, including the integration of local communities. To this end, the two countries agreed to host national cultural weeks in Angola and in South Africa. And I can report that those weeks took place. Lastly, the establishment of steering committees to monitor progress on the implementation of this program and report on a quarterly basis. Distinguished guests, our today's celebration of the 23rd of March Day of Reflection should therefore be seen as part of the continent-wide project called Roads to Independence, African Liberation Heritage Program. This program was adopted in 2005 at the 33rd General Conference of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, which recognized the struggle heritage as being of universal value and significance. This program was endorsed in 2011 at the 16th Ordinary Session of the African Union with the Republic of Tanzania as the convener. The African Liberation Heritage Program has regional and national chapters. Our South African chapter of the program is termed Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route, and it is directly linked to the SADC chapter. Common to all national, regional, and continental levels of the program is the documentation of a network of sites and routes of historical and heritage significance. This includes the honoring of the people and icons who contributed nationally, regionally, and continentally to the resistance and liberation struggles against colonialism, racism, apartheid, oppression, and underdevelopment. The development and management of the interlinked heritage routes and sites are intended to transform the heritage landscape, unleash and sustain tourism, economic development, and beneficiation at local, provincial, national, and transnational levels. During the 33rd summits of the heads of state and governments of the African Union held in 2020, that African patriot, His Excellency President Keita, former President Keita of Mali, proposed that 2021 be declared as the Year of Arts, Culture, and Heritage. Consistent with this declaration, our government, through the Department of Sport, Arts, and Culture, we will be embarking on the following programs, and these programs have been shared within government of South Africa, and we also are going to be engaging on the 25th with all the ministers of culture on the continent under the banner of the African Union. And this is the program we're presenting. One, the Africa Cultural Seasons. We're aiming at promoting regional integration and support efforts towards expanded trade of our cultural goods and services. Program 2 is the Africa Month program, which is the month of May, which promotes Pan-Africanism and African cultural renaissance. 3, promotion of use of African languages. The African Language Week provides an opportunity to showcase and promote African languages and cultures across the continent of Africa. 4th, commemoration of the 23rd of March as a day of Cuito Cuanavale. It is our considered view that this day should be a day where SADC region, Africa, and the globe pay homage to the Cuban forces and the progressive humanities contribution made in accelerating the liberatory process in SADC. So you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, that we do not want to confine this day only to our region. Yes, it did a lot for our region, but they were engaging the whole of the continent because it is of significance to all of us. Fifth, the popularization of the General Hashim Mbita project. This is the chronicle of the liberation struggles in frontline states or SADC today, which tells a story where Africans and patriots and revolutionaries in this region have together, or led by the late General Hashim Mbita, have been able to chronicle our liberation struggles from all the countries which make SADC as a region. And we think that that is important, that we should actually popularize this work. Sixth, the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of Chief Albert Luthuli winning the Nobel Peace Prize for Peace. Chief Luthuli was the first African to win the Nobel Peace Prize for Peace for his nonviolent struggle against apartheid in 1961. Program Director, I would like to take this opportunity to applaud Freedom Park once more for initiating the annual commemoration of the 23rd March, the Day of Reflection, under unique and difficult conditions of COVID-19 pandemic. This day has started. It will never go back. Every year, we are going to commemorate this day. Let me also make a clarion call to our SADC counterparts and our fellow Cuban and Russian revolutionaries and internationalists to join hands in making this historic day an annual event. And I am certain that the internationalists, our revolutionaries from Cuba, from Russia, will be able to be with us as Africa as we move forward on this day. It is also important that as we reflect on this very important day, we also reflect on how Cubans have committed themselves to contribute in social progress and ensure that the whole of humanity is free in all senses. The whole of humanity is without diseases. The whole of humanity realizes economic development. The whole of community is healthy. As we speak today, Cuba has been trotting the globe with no massive resources at their disposal, but with one major resource they have, that of humanity, that of being true revolutionaries and internationalists. They have gone around the globe to help without asking anything in exchange, but with love and the best qualities humanity can exude in this world. Thank you, Cuba. You must continue to do what you do, and whatever you are doing which is helping humanity, help us to reflect on ourselves as nations and see that this world can be a better world if all of us possess the kind of perspective Cuba has, that of aiding humankind. It is for this reason that Freedom Park, as an iconic institution of resistance and liberation heritage, was chosen to be the implementing agency of the commemoration of the 23rd of March, Day of Reflection. As we reflect on this historic day and comradeship, selflessness, and unconditional solidarity we forged in the trenches of Southern Africa and elsewhere, we should also unwaveringly commit ourselves to our ultimate realization of our common projects of development, social cohesion, social justice, democracy, nation building, as well as regional and continent building. Let us ensure that every coming year, our reflection on the 23rd of March grows from strength to strength as more of our SADC counterparts join forces with us. A luta continua. A luta. Cuban people, loving people, here we are, far from home. We shall love you, we shall need you for the things you've done for us. When our freedom comes along, when our freedom comes around, we shall love you, we shall need you for the things you've done for us. Thank you very much.